I'm just checking the battery again without load. 3.65 volts, 100%. And welcome back to another video here in the, well, you know the rest. This is part 2 of our capacity test video. We have tested one EV 280 ampere hours 3.2 volt lithium iron phosphate battery yesterday with the all-in-one tester, and we got 279.68 ampere hours out of this battery. 99.99% of the capacity we could verify. Today with part 2, as I said, we've got a different cell, and this is charged. Oh, look at this. This is so full. 0 amps. Quickly measure. 3.65 volts and 0 amps. So this is 100.000% charged now. All right, and today we are using a different tester. This is the tester I have ordered from Amazon, link down below. And this tester comes with a 100 amp shunt. And the setup is quite different to the all-in-one tester. Let me cable this battery cell for you and I'll show you how everything works. Okay, I have cabled the battery and the capacity tester now. I have also now waited for 1 hour since the battery was fully charged, as per the specification spreadsheet the manufacturer provided. So the battery has now rested for an hour, and I expect the voltage and see if it has dropped a little bit. Yeah, 3.64, and the actual meter shows 3.66. That's what I said yesterday in my video. This one shows a little bit too high, while the all-in-one device was a little bit too low. But both testers are still in the tolerance range. Okay, let me walk you through the setup. And both capacity testers have advantages and disadvantages. Well, this one needs a lot more cabling now to make it work, while the all-in-one was just positive and negative terminal and a power supply at the back, and the system was running. It has its own load, but this one again needs an external load, so we are using the light bulbs again on 3.2 volts. And I want to make you aware of these two leads coming from the meter here. This is the voltage sense. And this is a big advantage with this capacity tester, because it measures the voltage directly at the battery terminals and not somewhere else. While with this tester we always had the loss in these cables here, of course, because the tester measures on these terminals here, but not on the battery terminals. So the longer and thinner your cables are, the more loss you have here on these cables. And we don't have this problem here at all, because we are measuring directly at the battery terminals. I actually doubled up the cables just for you, so you don't give me a hard time again. But I didn't have to do this anymore, because with this tester it doesn't matter what kind of losses we have on the cables, connections and load, everything. It doesn't matter, because again we are measuring directly at the battery terminals. There's no cable loss in between at all. And the blue and the yellow cables are our voltage sense over the shunt. So you can see here on the shunt it says, can you read that? It's a bit reflecting. Ah, there you go. It's a 100 amp shunt and 75 millivolts. So I'm expecting the 75 millivolts to be at 100 amps. And these two cables, they measure basically the voltage drop on the shunt and calculate the amps. And I was a little bit, and this seems to be not very accurate, but I tested this all with the multimeter as well at the same time the meter ran, and it was 100% accurate. So the amps this one measures via these two cables is 100% what's actually going through the shunt or through the cables. And then we've got this red and black cable here, which is our 12 volt supply for the meter. You will have to use this if you measure single battery cells only. If you measure batteries under 8 volts, you need this external power supply to power up the meter. So from the positive terminal of the battery, we're going through our circuit breaker here, then going into XT60 connectors, into our light bulb setup, coming back on the negative side, going through the XT60 again, connecting to this side of the shunt, and the other side of the shunt connects to the battery terminal negative. And this whole setup is actually printed here on the back of the meter. You can see the setup there. So this is all done. And I've checked this all before with a different battery. Everything is working fine. All right, I think we should start now. Well, let's have a quick look at this display here. So here at the top it gives you the voltage. This is the current in milliamps. This is the power in watts. We've got our watt hours again for the energy. The capacity in milliampere hours. The external resistance, I'm not 100% sure what this will show. The internal resistance, this is the internal resistance of the battery. And we've got the running time. So a very similar setup to the all-in-one tester. And okay, let's it is 12:30 already. Well, if this takes another 12 hours to measure, it will be midnight until this finish. Okay, without further delay, turn this one on. Our lights turn on. It's Christmas. And let's have a look what's going on here. We can see the milliampere hours ramping up very quickly. 75 watts, 21 amps, so very similar to what we had over here. There's our voltage, 3.55. It's dropping fast at the beginning, going down from 3.65 in a very steep curve down to 3.4, 3.3, and then it's almost flat until the end of 3.2, and then it dips down again. External resistance. I have to look in the manual what this means. And this one gives us an internal resistance of 6 milliohms. But the internal resistance is 0.15 milliohms as per their sticker. So I'm not sure which one is correct there. But anyway, these cells have a very low internal resistance, very high short current. All right, I would say we leave this running. I'll keep you informed as always what happens in the meanwhile, and talk to you later. So we are now 4 minutes into the test. We've pulled 1.85 ampere hours so far, and you can see the voltage has dropped to 3.32 volts. And this will stay there for a long time now. For about 80% of the test, it will stay between 3.3 and 3.2 volts. The current is 22.0 amps it shows. And let's just measure here and see 22.0 volts. So this one is very, very accurate in terms of measuring the amps. So my friends, we are coming close to 100 ampere hours used out of the battery with my Christmas light bulb setup here. And we are 4.5 hours into the test. It takes a really long time. 330 watt hours, and the battery is still at 3.28 volts. 100. I don't think we see any comma figures anymore now, so it will be only full ampere hours from now on. It's a bit of a shame. There we have it, 140 ampere hours. So we have just reached the 50% mark of the capacity test. It's far less exciting than yesterday. It's actually pretty boring. I don't know, yesterday I was really excited to see the numbers climbing, and I looked every single hour here, and I was so often in the garage here to check the numbers. But today, I don't know, it's kind of boring now. This is probably because we are 6 hours and 20 minutes in the test, and we've got 6:30 now in the PM. That means it will be a long night. So this test will finish after midnight. 463 watt hours and 3.26 volts. I think we are, measure here at the terminals. Yeah, 326, 325. Yeah, we are very close now. Maybe it's calibrating also, I don't know. So we are exactly between 3.3 and 3.2 volts now, and we are at 140 ampere hours, 50%. So far, all looking good. Okay, we will have dinner now, and then I'll come back in a couple of hours to check again. What a boring stuff to watch these numbers climb. Just doing a random Christmas video. 180 ampere hours drawn from the battery so far. Another 100 amp hours to go. Almost 600 watt hours. 70 watts. 8 hours and 10 minutes. That's another 4 hours at least. Okay, we are on 3.18 volts. Just checking, and it is. And we've got 226 ampere hours so far. I've got the feeling that this battery cell is not up to the standard we want it to be. That's a fairly low voltage. We still got 50 ampere hours to go until 280. 10 hours, 18 minutes in, 743 watt hours. Okay, we are under 3.2 volts. That means we have left the linear area of the curve, and from now on it's going down. All right, I have to measure more often now, because this one has no low voltage disconnection function like the all-in-one has. It is 11 p.m. I guess we've got another hour and then we are done. But I doubt we will reach 280 ampere hours. So I'm not sure if this is the different tester we are using, or is it the battery cell. It looks pretty much like a Christmas barn here. All right, 11:30, 240 ampere hours, 3.17. Okay, another 40 ampere hours we need. Come on, you can do it. So it is now midnight and we are still measuring. We've got 250 ampere hours. So the last time I checked in was at 11:30. So 10 ampere hours in half an hour. That means it still needs to run 1.5 hours. I really doubt it can do it. It's down to 3.12 volts already. All right, I'll be back in half an hour. Well, it's getting a little bit more exciting now when we come to the end. All right, it is 12:30 now, and we are down to 2.83 volts. 262 ampere hours, 18 ampere hours missing. I mean, we are not done yet, but this is going quick now. So I better stay here and monitor this now, because I want to disconnect at 2.5. I really doubt we are going to make it to 280. I had a bad feeling from the beginning. And now it's going down very quickly. I doubt we will get 265. See how quick it goes down? Maybe just 265, but that's it. That's 15 ampere hours too low. Oh, we've got only one bar left. Still 264. Maybe we are getting 265. Another 50 millivolts. That's basically nothing. Then I will disconnect at 2.5. Ooh, just made it, 265. That's it. That's the result. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, disconnect. Okay, voltage is rising again, load is off, and this is our result. 860 watt hours, 265 ampere hours. So 15 ampere hours too short. So is this caused by the different tester or different cell? The other one worked fine yesterday. So should I cross-check them? This one with the all-in-one tester and this cell with a shunt tester. Or we're just leaving it like this. I really don't want to test all these 16 cells separately. Well, to be 100% sure, you have to test all the battery cells separately, individually, and capacity test them and make sure they're all within specs. But do I want to do this? This will take forever. Well, anyway, 265 is a bit disappointing, right? That's not up to the specs. So I will probably recharge this battery cell again to 3.65 volts and then use the other tester again just to double check the capacity of this one with the other tester and see what the results are. If it's higher, it may be the difference in the tester, but if it's the same or even lower, well, then it's the cell. Alright guys, so far this second capacity test of the EV LF280 lithium iron phosphate batteries from Baisen in China. That's disappointing. Alright guys, see you in the next video very soon. Bye bye. It's late.